Hey class, since we are now diving into simulations, I thought I would walk you through round one so you have a good idea of how to do it and really how to maximize and benefit from these simulations. So with every round, you will watch the video that comes first. It tells you the scenario of what that particular round is about. This one is about customer engagement. You will go to your inbox, you will answer the questions that you see, or that you will read the inbox, and then you will go to your notifications hub. And I've already done these because I've done these rounds several times. And so you will do these and you will answer those questions, and it'll tell you whether you got it correct or not, just like that. And so it gives you options. Because I've already done it, you can't see the options, but that is that, and you'll go through each one, so make sure you respond to each one of these. And then the last part of which is the biggest part of the simulation, is obviously the round that you're doing. Okay, so I will say this, that before you jump into these simulations, you really need to thoroughly look at this resource guide. And down here, you see the resources. If you click on that, and I just wanted to make sure I had it all up, this will pop up. Okay, so this is your bread and butter when it comes to these rounds. Also, make sure you check out the simulation materials that I put in your Blackboard. As far as I put some content in this week and with your simulations that I think you will find beneficial. But this is all the information that we need to really dive deep into our rounds. So make sure, and I like to, if I'm doing a round or working through a round, I like to have this up so I can reference it. I'm not sure. I actually haven't even found a way to download it. So I just make sure I have it up. You see here, I have that up while I'm looking at it to have the information there for us. Okay, so you want to make sure, because this is a customer re-engagement round, you want to make sure that you pay close attention to a few things. All right, these are their core values. All right, check out their tone. They're professional. You know, they don't really do a lot of sarcasm or emojis or anything like that. I love emojis, but you know, you know, Bowie doesn't. So make sure you check that out. All right. Terms to carefully use. So when you're using this, make sure you don't overuse them. And then here's some spam terms to avoid, especially in subject lines. All right. And so make sure you check those out. And then you have triggers. All right. And and it talks about here, and this is important for round one, is that you pay attention to the triggers. You want to make sure that, you know, again, triggers are something that automatically starts a sequence when someone does a certain action. So you want to include the goal of your sequence is, you know, make sure when setting the triggers that the goal of your sequence is relevant, and it excludes people to which the goal of your sequence is not relevant. So it gives you some examples of people that you would exclude that aren't relevant. So bounced emails, people to which their past emails bounced back or could not be delivered. Unsubscribed, so people that have actually unsubscribed from Bowie's emails. And then unengaged, so people who have not opened any of the last 10 Bowie emails sent to them. So be mindful of that, okay? So when you come to your subject line, again, make sure that it is 60 characters or less. You know, place relevant words up front, use correct spelling, etc. Avoid the spam terms to avoid. So going back up here, again, very good. Like, make sure you keep that up and easy to access. And then your preview text, you've got your body text, so it just gives you your context here, your call to action, your CTA here. Make sure that you follow these guidelines. And then your destination URL. So, you know, make sure to include the link, use the correct links, you know, all of the above, right? So when it comes to your actions, all right, if you've never, and I know a lot of you have not worked through an email platform, but you want to make sure that you're aware of all of it, and they kind of outline it for you. So when we go through the sequence, you're going to do delays and then if-then branches. So a delay spaces out your schedule for emails within the sequence, and then the if-then branches allow you to remove. So like a recipient from sequence if he or she already converts. So let's say we send someone an email and they went to the call to action, they purchased something, and that was our call to action. So we would not be following up then with the same types of that sequence because they went ahead and did it. You don't want to bombard them too much, all right? So it explains what delays here, and it gives you the timing of delays that you should use for each particular, like what you're trying to do. So this particular round is customer engagement. So the ideal delays for a customer re-engagement sequence are usually between 4 and 7 days. And then you'll see event follow-up, 0 to 5 days, abandoned cart, one, et cetera, et cetera. So you want to use these mentions as a starting point when you're setting your delays, but be sure to test various delays, all right? So I've tested these rounds several times, and now one thing I will say about the email is that even for me, because I don't, as an instructor, I don't get a key or, an answer guide. It's all based on my trial and error too. I can hardly ever get 100%. So I always, for me, these are great learning tools, but I always curve them. So just know that going into it, that if you're not getting 100%, so don't be that frustrated. So that's what the delays are, but make sure you pay attention to that because that makes a difference. And then the if-then branches. So, the if-then branches, again, tell our marketing email platform to remove a recipient if he or she has converted. And then, we don't want to, again, bombard. But if they also tell, like if someone has not converted, they will then tell your email sequence what to do or what to send that person, all right? So here is a good chart that shows us, how many number of emails like work in a sequence. So you see here, the sweet spot is around 3 to 4 number of emails in the actual sequence, okay? And then five works too, but you just look at here is that sweet spot here. And so it just kind of gives you some general insight. So use that again as a starting point there. And then good industry standard benchmarks that your conversion rate should be at least 2.9% or higher and 0.25% or lower for your unsubscribe rate. And then you have your email order or your sequences here, all right? And then, so here you're looking at how the paths that our consumers follow when deciding to purchase a product, all right? So this really determines the types and order of emails we send consumers. So, it really depends on the action that we want these consumers or recipients of our emails to take as a result of the email sequence. And that will really impact the order of our emails in that sequence. So, and it gives you some examples here. When our goal for sequence is to get recipients to take an action that directly generates revenue, such as purchase, we follow a typical pattern. So we send them reminders and then we send them offers. All right. So, and again, it can vary by sequence. All right. And so we'll give you some good examples here. But so here's a good example. And then it mentions that you'll just have to test your sequences to determine the ideal email order. So it gives, for example, the following orders might both be successful depending on the audience and the type of sequence. So sequence 1, a reminder, small offer, reminder, larger offer, and then the sequence 2, reminder, offer. I will say that I ran several versions of these with round 1. The one that I find, and I'm going to show you real quick of what I did, that worked the best for me and that got me like 90 out of 100-ish, 90-ish out of 100, somewhere around there, was the sequence 1 with the reminder, small offer, reminder, larger offer. You can also try reminder, small offer, reminder, larger offer. So you can kind of take one of those out and see how that works too, since the sweet spot was closer to 3 or 4 emails than 5. But again, it's kind of the fun of it that we get to play around with it. Again, you don't like your score, you tell me and I'll reset it. I wish there was a way that I could let you just keep taking them until you're happy. But unfortunately, I have to reset it each time. No big deal on my part. Just shoot me a message or email and let me know. And so that is the concept, and that is that good information, the resources that you will see. All right. So make sure that you check this out before you get going. All right. Okay. So going back to the round. So here is round 1, and you're going to do select your triggers, your actions. You can make adjustments by editing, and I'll show you, and then you'll hit submit. All right. So here we go. And I've kind of already done this part just so to make it more efficient. But here I'm gonna edit. All right. So this is what you should see. You got options here. All right. So this is your first picking your triggers. All right. So for this one, because we are trying to get customer re-engagement, I chose the no purchase in last 6 months. And I would play around with it. Like, you don't have to do exactly this. That's kind of the fun in it. But since we are trying to re-engage, I went with that. All right. So once you've selected your triggers, and also here you have your list to exclude. So remember, again, going back to my resource guide, it gave us triggers on some of those that you should exclude. Okay. So I went with that and kept Bowie employees, but maybe exclude them first and see how that works. So then you select your triggers. All right. So then you're going to start your sequence. Again, if you go back to your resource guide here, you can play around with different sequences, and it gives you some examples. So on this one, I believe I went reminder, small offer, reminder, larger offer. And I'm going to change that up to see if it changes my score. But so here's my reminder type thing. We've missed you. It's been a while since you last visited. Check out the American Dream line. But you have options. So you can pick any of these. Okay. You can pick any of these. And then once you do it, you hit add. All right. So there's a couple of things I want to point out. So you want to make sure that, and these are the subject lines. So this urgent, where have you been? If you go back to your resources, it shows you here spam terms to like avoid, and urgent is one of those. So just kind of an FYI, spoiler alert, if you will. I wouldn't choose that because it contains that urgent information that it tells you not to use. So I'm going to go with we've missed you, since they have not no purchase in the last 6 months. So I'm going to add that. All right. So then I'm going to do a delay. So I've sent the email, and because in this resources, it tells me that with the re-engagement, sorry, go down to it. When it comes to delays with the customer engagement, the ideal for a customer engagement sequence are usually 4 to 7 days. It also mentions that these ranges, it also mentions that Bowie, it's up here somewhere, uses shorter delays at the beginning of the email sequence, sorry. So I thought, okay, I'm going to try, since it's usually 4 to 7 days, I'm going to use that range, if you will, and I'm going to start with a 4, since it's the beginning and that's the shorter. Okay. So what I did was I got my first email, and so then you hit this plus button and you add. So, and it gives you an option to what you want to add, but I've kind of already done that, and it added a delay. So I'm going with the shorter first, and I went 4 days. Okay. And you can edit. It gives you can do it however long you want to delay. Oops. Then, so I'm like, okay, I'm going to send this email and I'll wait 4 days. And if they do go ahead and click and you get a conversion, that's awesome. The goal is met. But if not, then what do you want your recipient to do? All right. So our goal is conversions. So if the goal is not met, we're going to send another email. All right. And again, so I went with this sequence. Let me just playing around with it. reminder, small offer, reminder, reminder, larger offer. But I'm going to change it up for y'all, just see if we get a different outcome. So I went reminder here. Hey, we've missed you. Waited 4 days. If they didn't convert, I send the small offer. 20% off your next purchase. All right. All right. So this time I'm going to do 5 days. All right. And then if they convert, great. Again, you can edit that and change it how you want. But if they don't convert, I'm going to send another email, and going back to my sequence, I'm going to do another reminder. Okay. So I'm going to, these bags were made for you. And so that's personal. They like to connect with, they mentioned they like to connect with their recipients and make them personal. So I thought that would be a good one. All right. So then I'm going to add another delay if they do not respond within 6 days. So 4, 5, 6. Actually, I'm going to edit that and just see where we go from here. Let's do 5 days again. I'm going to add the delay. So if they convert, fantastic. If not, we're going to send another email. And you see here that I did reminder. Let's see what I did. I did reminder, small offer, reminder, reminder, big offer. Okay, so I again followed this reminder, small offer, reminder, reminder, larger offer. So I'm going to change it up a little bit. So far we've gone reminder. Hey, we've missed you. We waited 4 days. Then, hey, small offer, 20%. We waited 5 days. I did another reminder. These bags were made for you. We did 5 days again. And then I did another reminder, but let's delete this. Let's just do, I'm going to try the reminder, small offer, reminder, larger offer. So I'm not even going to send the 5. I'm going to go 4 since that was a sweeter offer. So I'm going to delete this last reminder because that's my big offer. So I'm going to delete this one. Oops, I think I can delete it here. Okay, and then I'm going to not wait 7 days. Let's do 6. See how that works. So if they convert, great, but if not, we're going to do the larger offer, and I'm just going to show you the different options here. Let's see, urgent. Remember, we're not going to use that. These bags were made for you. We've used that one while you're away, but I'm looking for a larger offer, and I think they only have two really 40% off just because you're awesome. We could do that one. In fact, is that the one I used? Let me see. Is that the one I used? I think I used, no, I used one of the 40% offs, but let's see. Here's 40% off because we like you. And so you can always go back and double check. You can be like, okay, let me make sure that none of those words in the subject line are something that I need to avoid. So you can see here, and they don't really have anything there. You know, is there something that we need to be more careful with? Free gift for you. You used to be careful with. So I'm going to go with, I'm going to go this one. Yep, I think that's the one I used before anyways. Okay, so I think that's where I'm going to terminate my workflow. That's 4 emails. Okay, and I'm going to hit run simulation. So that's when you know you've done all the pieces to that one. Okay, and then it'll take you a minute. It'll take it a minute to come up with your, and so our goal here is 100 conversions. And I may or may not get that with this one because I changed things up. I think I got 75 to 80 was my highest, and we don't want more than 55 unsubscribes, all right? So it is taking a minute. I'm so sorry. But while it does that, I just, so then you should get your information here. They give you your feedback, and I don't know why it is taking so long. Usually it comes up pretty quickly. But anyways, so that is a good run through of what you will be doing, and that's what you will be doing with each one. But I highly recommend using these 2 tabs, right? Have one tab with your resources up with every round that you're doing, and again, you can find that resource tab over here, and then have the other, you know, tab actual that you're running the simulation. I'm going to refresh real quick. Let's see if that helps. Okay, here we go. Now, oh man, I hope it didn't mess me up. Let's see if it ends up. Let's try it again. Sorry. I'm so sorry. There we go. Okay. So I actually made my conversions less by me changing it up. So, you know, this is what I mean when you just play around with it. I changed it up. I did 4 emails instead of 5. And that kicked me down quite a bit because I did have, out of a total conversions, this says 46, had like 75 or 80. So that's just good. I'm actually glad it changed because that gave us a good example of how when you change things up, it's really easy. So here my unsubscribe rate is a little higher. It should be 0.25 or lower. But my conversion rate here is pretty good, 3.87%, should be 2.9% or higher. But that's just of, you know, how you can run through it and, you know, see what you did. Anyways, I hope this is helpful for everybody. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate. Please feel free to take them as many times as you want, but and just reach out to me, and I will be glad to help. Anyways, I will talk to you soon.